right, buddy, what are we doing?
Kayaking in the ocean.
With the Remix 47. He's ready. You ready?
Yeah.
Gonna get a combat roll?
Hopefully.
Don't smile. That's gonna be fun. There we go. How does that feel? Right now.
Understandably, when people learn to kayak, they spend almost all their time focusing on trying to get through waves, over holes, and down the river. And here Pete is paddling his boat for the first time in the ocean, and he's just focused on staying upright and punching through the waves as they come at him. And in the ocean, things are a little bit different because you don't have to move and the wave comes to you. In the river, it's the opposite. You're traveling with the water into the wave. And even though this is backwards and sometimes a little confusing, it is exactly the same in principle and technique needed to do this successfully. And so what you got to do is turn that boat around and harness that energy and go the other way. And you'll need to do a couple things to stay upright. Basically, you lean into the wave pile and away from the direction you're traveling when you're in the ocean. Or if you're in the river, you lean into the wave pile and away from the oncoming current, which, as you can see, is virtually the same scenario. Important to note, I did not go to the Mayo with the intention of making an intro to surfing video. However, that's kind of what we got into when we were up there. We basically went up there and had about 6 hours of fun. Guy and Evan joined us in a little bit, and here's your intro to surf video. I want to start out by saying that Pete is really doing well knocking down the slot booth here, which is a kind of tricky move with a lot going on, but he's being able to ace that to the degree where that's now his favorite line of getting down the rapid. So instead of the S-turn or the cheat line, he prefers the slot booth now. Also important to note that if I had known I would have been doing a surf video, I would have brought an entirely different kayak. I'm in a Jackson Rocker, which isn't a terrible surfing kayak, but its primary design is for running rivers and creeking, not playing in wave holes and surfing. On the other side of the coin though, it's probably better that I do it in this boat, because most of y'all watching learning how to surf probably do not have a specific boat for each genre of whitewater you're getting into.
Yep, you're almost there. Keep going, keep going. You got it. Come on, come on. Oh! I'm pretty good at that.
You can surf any whitewater boat, but some surf a lot better than others. And for a boat that you want to surf in primarily, you're looking for a planing hull, which is a flat hull which acts more like a surfboard, versus a displacement hull like the boat Kevin and I are in, which displaces water upon landing waterfalls. Completely different purpose and makes a really big difference on how the boat acts when it's surfing. But we won't go any further into that this video. We'll just focus on what you need to surf. And this is the actual boiling hole, and this is not a good place to surf. This is a hole. This is not a wave hole. This is not a wave. It's a hole. And this thing is very unpredictable and very unforgiving, as you're about to see. When traveling down a river, bigger water makes mistakes stand out faster. But when you're standing still and the river's going by you, any mistake is multiplied exponentially as an exaggeration point next to your bad form. This is real-time window shade. It can happen fast. Just relax and roll up. And while you're sitting here looking at this beautiful slow motion footage on my new camera that really serves no purpose in the video, I'll take a minute to explain window shading. Try not to focus on Kevin Champ and his perfect form coming through here at 240 frames a second. It looks fantastic. But a window shading, or a window shade event, is basically when the current hits the side of your kayak and flips you so fast you feel like you're in one of the old-timey window shades where you pull down, let go, and it just kind of wraps around itself. If you've ever been in the situation, you'll be able to identify exactly what we're talking about. And that's the primary thing you're going to try to avoid while surfing. And in order to do that, you need to be either pointing your boat directly into the current or leaning away from it. The faster the water comes under your boat, the harder you may have to lean. And I know it can be intimidating, but it is a vital skill, as sooner or later you will be stuck in a hole and you're going to need to know how to conduct yourself to get out of it and stay upright. And it's addictively fun, an activity that drives about half of the entire whitewater kayaking industry. It can be just mesmerizing. Now, the way you steer left and right is mostly laying the back face of your paddle on the water in a low brace to affect which way your nose is pointing. You can also carve and lean. You can drive your knees certain ways. You can forward stroke, you can backstroke, you can do a lot of things, but you're basically just working the water. And there you see Kevin getting a hole surf in the bottom hole and as well up there in the boiling hole. And it's just like all the rest of kayaking. You need to be very proactive and aggressive with your strokes. And that brings me back to the hole skip. Right there, boot stroke over that hole and then taking it down through the slot. And as I watch Pete on the river, when you can see here, he's much more aggressive in driving that kayak through the rapids. He's not just letting it happen to him. And you can see I'm going through here, just making it happen. Surfing is much the same way. When you get in there, you got to be aggressive, you got to be proactive, you got to lean, you got to edge, you got to make that kayak do what you want it to do. But if you paddle timidly, just like everything else, this thing's going to eat you up. And you see me throw a 360 here, which this rapid is good for, a left hand 360. And that's really about all I can do in a creek boat while surfing. You can do a lot of other tricks and other types of boats. But if you're just getting into it, take whatever boat you got and go try practicing some surfing.
Woohoo! No! It kicked me out! doing there, Kevin? I noticed you were saying your boat was stinky. Is it?
It was stinky, so
Is
I
it
had to
kind of?
take care of that. It's clean now. Look.
Smells like. Smells fresh.
Yeah.
Smells like Mayo River. That's what happens when you're trying new stuff. It's all part of the fun.
So we would alternate between surfing and then running back to the top to run it down. And here we plug the hole, and I'll show you the boost stroke. Again, it's right here. Give my boat lift and speed to just skip right over the bottom of that hole and not allow my nose to go down in the seam between the water and the pile. Keeps you on top and keeps you out of the bad stuff. And here we see Pete do a hole skip. As he comes down through there, he does it a little early. Right there, drove him over that first hole. And this is what I want to focus on. Where have I seen that before? A left to right pour over into a hole. Looks very familiar. It is virtually the same exact move, only on a smaller scale, and that's what we're learning here by taking on these more challenging lines. If you want to be ready for a bad line on the double drop at Bull Sluice and want to remain upright, you start by doing the slot boof on the Mayo. Same exact situation, and then I'll run them both in real time, top to bottom, so you can see the similarities.
Go ahead, go ahead.
So it's time to get the Little Rippers into the surf game. What I'm going to do is get out of my boat and hold them in the beef of that wave the best I can without letting them flip, just so they can feel the power of a big wave. At least it's big to them. This really isn't a big wave, but if you've never been in one and you're 8 years old, it's a big wave. So Evan is learning how to place the back face of his paddle down. That's a low brace. He needs to lift his elbows and drop his hands a little bit, but he's doing fine. And that gives you lift, and it also allows you to control the boat for going left and right. He's also learning to edge. When I push the boat down in the water, he has to combat that with the harder edge, just like that. It's a good job. He's not totally comfortable, but that's completely understandable. He's learning, and he's got the Michael Jordan tongue sticking out. You know he's going to be a rock star. It's a lot of energy and a lot of water going by a little kid, and he did fantastic. So I'm gonna do the same to Pete here. Pete has surfed a hole similar to this on accident briefly and got spit out, but he's never done it intentionally facing forward. And it's a whole lot to learn, a whole lot to process. And what we'll do is let him get in this water and just feel what it feels like, and that it's not completely insane. And then we're going to scale it back a large degree to something they can handle, and it won't seem so bad at all. So just below the S-turn and the sandy beach, there's another little spot that's got a couple cool features that's not quite as difficult to deal with. A perfect place to learn to surf without having to pay a big price doing so. So it's just enough water and current to keep you there, but it's really not going to make you pay for your mistakes. Great place to kind of feel the rush and get in the current. And just below that is an even smaller wave, perfect for practicing your 360s, side surfs, front surfs, back surfs, as you see Evan doing here.
Look at you, Ev, you're feeling it. Just always lean a little downstream. There you go.
So I intentionally did not go into a lot of detail. The basics are to keep your nose into the current, and when you spin or if you're sideways, you must lean downstream, you must edge your boat. You must let the current go under the side of your boat. If you get backwards, you can lean forwards.
Very good.
But basically lean away from the current, be aggressive, make it happen. Start off small, get the mechanics of it, and start edging up, because it is a vital skill.
Nice. A little more downstream lean. You feel it trying to grab you? 1, 2, 3, go. Too much fun, baby. Woohoo! Wait till you get almost sideways in your surf, and then you do the stroke. Now, there you go. Oh no, that would be a forward stroke, the second one, because that keeps you in the hole. Try one more time. Now you're getting sideways. Now, again, forward on the right. Yes! Oh, you're so close. You gotta do a forward stroke, spin your boat just like you normally do. Right out. Oh yeah. Spin it all the way. Spin it all the way. Back. Nice. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, go. Good job, girl. Oh, there's another. Wow. Wow. Team rescue. Kevin.
I didn't know you were there.
Yeah, I said team rescue. I was doing this.
I was ready to get out. Not a winner.
Not a winner today, folks. Now, he did fantastic. Missing his rolls. Combining your roll sequence in the good stuff when you're getting hammered by some current, it's a different thing. So your combat roll comes a little slower sometimes, but he's right there at it. We're thinking maybe he'll get that on a special river sometime in the future.
I'm hoping so.
He's hoping. So good day, man.
All right.
Kevin Champ. All right, we got world famous Joe Higgins of Northwest River Runners. Northwest North Carolina.
Just north. Yeah. I have to look.
We didn't practice. Anyway, first time meeting. He's about to throw his whitewater canoe in the water here and run the boiling hole for the first time. So should be a good time. Let's see what happens.
So from kayaking for 6 hours to sliding down the river to jumping off rocks, we watched the sun go down on another perfect day.